Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Lily, and I appreciate you being here and taking the time to watch my videos. I welcome you with open arms. Thank you. In today's video, we are going to be making some junk journal tags, but these tags are going to be made from this paper bag. Yes, I'm so excited. So I have made similar tags recently. In fact, during my Christmas junk journal in December, I made some tags from book pages. And now I'm going to do something very similar, but I'm going to put this paper bag to good use. And that is what we're going to do. Yeah, so we're going to cut it down so that I have some usable paper bag pieces. Now, the thought came when I was going to recreate the same book page tags that I made in December. And by the way, I will link those videos down below, and then I'll also link it up above. So if you have time and you want to go see how I made those paper junk journal tags or book page junk journal tags, I invite you to go and check that video out. And so I was thinking about recreating those, but I wanted to use something grungier, something like this. I was actually thinking about using packaging, and I was looking around for packaging, but it was somewhat thin, and I would have to layer several pieces of packaging to get it to feel or to work just right, so it wouldn't be so flimsy. So I started looking around in my junkie box and in all of those other areas where I collect junk, and I had a couple of these Starbucks bags, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but you know, if you're anything like me, I save it because the light bulb is gonna go on, and I'm gonna have a really great idea. And I just started working and just kind of crossed my fingers and hoped that they turned out as nice as I had envisioned them. And so I'm just basically trimming all of the excess, and after I trim all of the pieces down, it's almost like an 8.5 by 11 size, almost like a size of copy paper. And all of those other pieces that I'm tearing off, I'm not throwing those away. I will reuse those. My favorite thing to do is to stamp on those pieces of paper sack. I just love it. I have a definition stamp that I like to use on paper bag, and I think I have a video where I do that. If I find it, I will also link it below. And it's just me using, I can't remember if it was paper bag or packaging, but I love it. And then the handles, yeah, those aren't going in the garbage. I'll figure out something to do with those handles. And so in the junkie box is where I'm placing all of those spare items. Right now I am going to glue both of these together. And that is so that they are a little bit sturdier. And I'm going to coat the paper sack as evenly as possible and try to avoid any air bubbles between the pages. But I'll give you a little secret. I really love how they turned out. Yes, they turned out so nice. I am so happy. And I hope that you just love. And don't go fast forwarding. Don't go jumping ahead to see the end result, because I want you to join me and watch the process. So I took one of these scrapers. I don't know what this is called, but it helps kind of burnish everything and smooshes and smooths everything in the inside. Again, trying to avoid any air bubbles and also smoothing out any globs of glue that, sometimes happen when you're spreading the glue stick. So to smooth all of that out, and I'm going to use this chipboard tag that I've had in my stash. I'm going to use that as a template and trace around it onto the bag paper. And those chipboard tags, I really like them. They're pretty thick. I use them for gifts. I'll attach them to presents and things. But I like the size, and that's why I chose that one as a template. So I'm just sharpening my pencil in my little piggy When Pigs Fly pencil sharpener. I picked that up at the thrift store, and I think it was something like 50 cents or 75 cents. I just couldn't leave it. It was so cute. It's so cute. So now I am just taking my pencil and I'm tracing around it. And I believe I managed to squeeze 4 of the tags onto this paper. I'm sure I could have probably gotten 5, but I didn't think ahead. And I was actually thinking I was only going to get 2, but I end up with 4, which is good. So just tracing around that. The junk journal tags I made in my Christmas junk journal were made from book pages. And what I do is I save the book pages that have a lot of the blank space, and I use those for my junk journal tags. However, I used all of them and I didn't have any left. And so that's one of the reasons why I opted to use a different material. And from it started out wanting to use book page and then packaging, and that's how I ended up with the brown paper bag. So I'm now cutting the outline of the tag, and this one here I actually had to run through my paper trimmer because I didn't cut very well with my scissors. So I'm just evening out those edges, and then I'll clip that side as well, or trim until it looks somewhat even, and then cut the 2 corners up on top to give it the shape of a tag. And I will do that with the others as well. And believe it or not, do you see that grungy, torn up edge there on the right-hand side? I don't discard that. And that's where I get my 4th tag. And I was going to get, just toss it out because it just looks so beat up. But I thought, oh, I think I could work around that. And so that's how I ended up with 4 tags. Aside from the old book pages that I use for making the tags, I've also done the same thing with scrapbooking paper. And it's fun to kind of think outside the box and use materials that you wouldn't normally use to create things, and to be able to repurpose items that are, junky items or trash items, junk to treasure, trash to treasure items. I get so much satisfaction in knowing that I can repurpose something and turn it into something beautiful and something useful. And I get much more joy taking junk and transforming it. I do. It's so much fun to see the outcome and to see the end result. Now, don't get me wrong, I love using my scrapbooking papers, but I am also trying to incorporate a lot of other mediums and substrates and things like that. So I will use junky items, um, scrapbooking supplies from my stash, and of course, items that I purchase, um, you know, little things here and there from all kinds of different shops. But working with junk is my absolute favorite. It always has been. So here are the 4 tags, including that one with that torn up edge. And after I cut the shape, it doesn't look that bad. Now it is, and I'll show you in just a moment, it is pretty thin because of that torn edge there, but I end up fixing it. So the next step here is to add more interest to the tags. I don't want to cover them up completely because I want to be able to show that it came from a paper bag. And so I'm only going to collage just bits and pieces of the vintage book pages onto the tags. Just a little bit on each one. And again, not to cover up, but to enhance. One of my subscribers, Don't Wake Me Up, Veronica at Don't Wake Me Up, that's her handle. She had said she watched one of my videos of where I repurposed junk mail envelopes, and that's exactly, she admired the fact that I didn't cover up all of the junk mail envelope with collage, that I let it show through and I just enhanced it. And she is right. I'm enhancing the junk. So thanks, Veronica. I appreciate all of your comments, you guys. You are all so nice and so supportive. And I am just so happy that you are here watching my videos, and you are giving me such positive feedback, and I appreciate each and every one of you that have taken the time to like and comment. Um, I I am just so grateful that you are here and that you like what I'm doing with the junk. Thank you so much. So again, I am using, that's such a neat little tool. And I don't know where that came from. It kind of reminds me of the tool that auto body repairmen use to smooth the Bondo onto the metal on the vehicles, on the cars when they're fixing them. And the only reason I even know is because my dad was in that industry. He was an auto body repairman, aka body man is what they would call him for short. And he worked on vehicles. And so I watched him my entire life work on vehicles. And he always had those like spatulas. Is that what that is? I think so. He never had a pink one, that's for sure. But they were very similar to that. And he would be mixing up the Bondo and he would just smooth it over the dents or whatever it is he was repairing on the cars. And that was a work of art. Work of art watching him. Maybe that's where I get it from. Turning junky cars into treasures, because he also liked working on classic cars. And it was amazing watching him. And so that's what that reminds me of, that little spatula. So I don't know where it came from. And I don't know if you guys remember me talking about going into my parents' garage and going through my dad's tools. He's retired now, and he has a lot of the tools in the garage. And so when I came here in December of 2019, and then I was here, the first half of 2020, and I needed supplies, I went into the garage, went through all of his things, and I found tools to pierce you know, for binding signatures and pliers and, you know, tools like that. All kinds of different things. And I don't think I ever put him back. I think I kept some of them. He hasn't asked for them, so I think we're okay. And he actually still had some of these spatulas that he was using. But yeah, that's what that reminds me of. But it's pretty. It's bright pink, and don't know how it ended up in my tools in my stash, but I'm keeping it. And it's actually working so well to smooth out the book page over the paper bag. Worked so good to smooth that out. Again, I'm trying to avoid air bubbles. Now these are ready, and I'm actually going to let these dry for a little bit because I'm going to stitch all around the sides. Do I stitch now or do I stitch later? I can't remember. But I do end up stitching all around. Oh yeah, I punch a hole first. But I am going to run them through the sewing machine. And because the glue is still sticky, I will set them aside for just a few minutes just to give them enough time to dry. And then I'm going to run them through the sewing machine. Oh, this is the tag that was really beat up. It was part of the paper bag that was all torn up, but I wanted to use it. And all I'm going to do with this one is reinforce it with some extra paper bag. Not paper bag. Reinforce it with extra book page. Just so it's not so thin, because it was kind of flimsy, really thin, almost transparent. So just adding that, just kind of haphazardly, just gluing it on there. And then I'll trim off some of the excess. See how perfect that tool is? That spatula. So I have been digging. I have been digging through my supplies, you guys, and going through and, like I said before, refamiliarizing myself with my things. I think I counted the other day how many times I have moved. I have moved my supplies, just me, my belongings and all of my scrapbooking supplies. In the last 2 years, I have picked up and moved all of my things 6 times. 6 times in 2 years, you guys. That's a lot of packing and a lot of moving my things. Packing, unpacking, packing, unpacking, packing, unpacking. 6 times. This is the 6th time right now. Yup. And the reason I'm going through all of my things again is because when I packed it, the 5th time, I just threw stuff in boxes. Didn't even care. Just put things in boxes and just to move them out of the way. Or move them out of the house where I used to live. And then some of it ended up in storage and some of it has ended up here at the house. And I wasn't sure what things were here in the house. And so I'm opening some of those boxes and refamiliarizing myself with my stash. And then as soon as it's not so cold, I'll go to the storage unit and go through those boxes again. It's too cold. I have a few boxes in the garage here. And I've tried a few times to go in there and unpack those boxes. But oh my gosh, you guys, it's cold in the garage. And I'm not about being cold no matter how much I bundle up. So those things can wait. Another reason why I like using junk. Because it's handy. So here are the 4 tags all nice and collaged. I'll add some of the reinforcers. These are reinforcers that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. They don't always have them, but I will stop in there every once in a while. And if they have some, I will always pick up a pack because I do go through these. I go through these a lot. And if you're interested in seeing a video on how I distress or alter these with paint and glitter and distress oxide and things like that, I will also link that video below. And it's just taking whatever you have, whether it be acrylic paints or ink pads, and just coloring them so that they're more than just the white, and it just enhances the tags. These I used, I think it was Vintage Photo. It's the Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink, and I just stained the, oh my gosh, reinforcers. I was going to call them eyelets. The reinforcers. And I like to use them on both sides, front and back. Noticed how I changed tools? I was using the pick, and that was working fine, but I was afraid I was going to poke my fingers. And so that's why I switched over to this little spatula. They both work just as fine, just as good. But I was concerned about the pick poking me. So I switched over to this one. My desk was all over the place with everything. And so I try to tidy up as I'm working, or else there's just too much stimulation going on and then I can't focus. So I have to clear, I'm constantly clearing things up before I move on to the next step. So this is where I take them and I set them aside to dry for a little bit, and then I stitched them all the way around, and they turned out beautiful. I love the way they look like this as it is. What do you think? Do you like them? Do you guys like them? Have you guys used paper bag to make tags? So nice. I just love the way they turned out, you guys. I really do. And I didn't have to stitch them. I could have left them as they were, but I enjoy stitching. And so every opportunity that I get, I will stitch around, add the stitching as an embellishment to all of my projects. So I went through some of my supplies and I came across these goodies. These are little ephemera pieces that I purchased at Joann's, and they are, oh, I can't remember. Sorry, I can't remember. Paper, is it Paper? No, Paper Studios, Hobby Lobby. Joann's has a brand name of inexpensive embellishments that they sell. And that's where these are from. And these were just random packages of ephemera and little vellum flowers that I picked up at Joann's. And I forgot I had them. So as I was looking through my things, I came across it. And I thought we need to use it. The same with that glue. I believe that's a Tombow adhesive. And that was my go-to glue for a long time. And I came across it. I found it in my stash, and I thought I would use it before it gets too old. I did have to throw away a second one because it just dried up so bad. So I thought, I'm going to salvage this one and use it. It's really sticky, super sticky stuff. But it works really good with the vellum, with these vellum pieces. I wasn't sure if they would stick because I've tried before. Look at how cute that looks. Oh my gosh, that looks so cute with those vellum flowers. I've worked with vellum in the past. Vellum is kind of tricky. Tape runner didn't work very well, and some adhesives are only temporary and then it peels right off. But this stuff is super, super sticky and it works really good. And I believe the art glitter glue is also really good on the vellum. And I do have other flowers that I like to use. I have digitals that I've had for a little while. I need to print some more. No, I'm not going to print anything right now. I have enough flower ephemera from other places that I could use. But when I run out, I've got some digital roses I can print. I've got tons of Tim Holtz flower ephemera that I could also use. But these are so pretty, and I like how they are vellum and they're transparent, and so you see a lot of the background come through. This little tool also came in handy for smoothing out the glue on the tags. Just kind of burnishing over the vellum flower because it did kind of smush out the sides. The vellum it has a slick surface. It's non-porous. And so the glue kind of it doesn't absorb into the vellum. And so it just squeezes out the sides. And so with this little scraper, is that what it is? It was able to smooth out the glue. But then I had to take a baby wipe and kind of clean off the excess from the scraper. The yellow ones are my favorite. And I think the yellow looks so good, again, because the book page has that natural yellowish patina. And so the yellow vellum flowers look so perfect against that and the brown paper bag. I really do love how these turned out. I didn't think they would turn out as nice as they did, but I absolutely love them. And I will be using a couple of these in the junk journal. I'm almost done. I've gathered all of my supplies now to finish the junk journals, but I did need to make a few more pieces from junk, like these tags and then the junk mail envelopes that I made in my previous video. And so just a few embellishments to add the final touches to the junk journals, and I'm almost done with those. I really hope that you find inspiration from the videos and from the projects that I work on, and that you're inspired to create your own treasures from the junky items that you have, or even the new items. You know, if it's scrapbooking paper or copy paper, whatever you have that you packaging that you want to use to create, I hope that this video inspires you to get busy and start making beautiful things. So just when I thought I was done, I decided I wanted to add one final embellishment to the tags. And so I grabbed this is Sari Silk that I purchased. And I purchased this from an Etsy shop a couple years ago. It's lasted a really long time. I think the shop on Etsy, I think they're called Paran Yarn. Paran Yarn. I believe that's where I got it, on Etsy. And I do have a lot of nice trims, lace and ribbons and things. But I wanted to use, this is perfect because it's also kind of, it's fraying and grungy. And it just works really well with these tags. So I was told just recently, you guys, and you let me know if you think this is true, but that I speak very similar to, or my style of speaking is very similar to Drew Barrymore. And I have to say, I agree. I love Drew Barrymore. When she speaks, she kind of pauses when she talks. And so I have been told just recently by many people that I have that same style of speaking where I pause. I pause a lot as I'm talking. So if you're familiar with Drew Barrymore and her style of speaking, and even when she acts, she does, in the movies that she's been in, she does the exact same thing. She kind of pauses as she's talking. So if you think I speak that same way, let me know down below what you think. So here we are, you guys. We are coming to an end, and let me know what you think about these tags. I have this second bag, and so I'm also going to create another 4. Maybe I can get 5 tags out of this second bag and try to make a few more. I just love how they turned out. So I'm now going to go hunt the entire house looking for more bags because these are the only 2 that I could find that day. But I really like how they turned out. Let me know what you think down below. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you again for being a part of my YouTube channel. I appreciate you so much. You guys take care. I will see you next time. And again, thank you. Bye.